Boobies!
Boobies!
Hello.
Hi, it's Caitlin,
And Joshua.
and we are your
Boobies!
Boobies.
Everything feels so backwards.
I don't know. I felt like
Boobies.
just saying your name.
I loved it.
Mm.
I love to hear my name
Welcome.
from your mouth.
Thanks.
Yes, this is Boobies, a horror movie spectacular.
Yes, where we get to talk about and decipher and really just kind of either love or hate on whatever scary movie we're deciding to talk about that week.
Exactly.
And this week we're
Delve into
talking
it.
about, drum roll please, a cult classic. Everybody loves it. Some people hate it. Some people are in the middle about it. It's Alien,
Alien.
1979.
That's right, 1979.
Mhm.
Directed by, what's his face?
Ridley Scott, who just directed that
Ridley Scott, that's what I wrote.
that House of Gucci movie we watched together.
Oh, really?
He directed that with
Good.
Gerger. Lady
Fun.
Gerger. Yeah. So it's pretty wide spectrum of
I was
filmography.
like, wasn't her name Ridley? No, it's Ripley.
Ripley. Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Which is kind of I'm pretty sure that wasn't on purpose, but like it's funny that like he's Ridley and she's Ripley. You
Yeah.
know, it's very, very similar.
Of course, that's the sole survivor.
Yeah, of course. And so
Spoiler.
yeah.
I knew that, and it turns out I hadn't even seen this fucking movie.
You've never
really
you
thought I
you'd
had.
you've seen it, but
I
okay.
think I've seen one of the mini
sequels.
iterations. Yes,
Or yeah. There are spin-offs ish too, as
like
well. Prequels, I guess.
pretty sure I have seen
Not really,
Alien
but-
versus Predator,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
and then I know I've seen the
AVP.
original Predator,
AVP.
which I actually really do enjoy the
what
original Predator.
oh yeah, that one's really good. Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Like, I mean, Predator in general, that's fucking terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that he can like cloak and like
Go
basically be
invisible,
invisible
has
is
all
like-
these like really like intelligent like futuristic weapons that can just
Yeah.
like murder
when
the
he's
fuck
on
out of
you,
you.
you're
Have you
dead.
seen the new Predators
No.
movie? Like came out in like probably 11 or 12 or I think, I'm not sure, I don't remember.
probably not.
Um
I've clearly not had a big interest in this franchise,
uh-huh.
as it turns out.
It's like a
No particular reason. I
reimagining,
just never watched.
I guess a reimagining of the Predator,
Mhm.
but Predators as they called it, so that way I guess they could have a whole different name than just Predator. But it was actually pretty good. But I also am a fan of Alien versus Predator, even though like a lot of people shit on it.
I think I remember liking it.
I thought it was
I mean,
pretty
a
good,
lot of
but-
verses are not good.
Yeah, and it also changes kind of like the the universe, I guess, that the Alien movies and their prequels kind of build, because it's kind of like left field and has a whole different, like, it's kind of basically saying that the Predators made the xenomorphs, the aliens.
Which one
And
is it where I
it's-
remember I saw one where Sigourney Weaver like comes out of nowhere, like they're doing something. Is she? No.
She's in the first three. She's in Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3.
There's one where they're like
and Alien Resurrection.
going somewhere, and then they're basically in like, it looks like a like jungle like tomb or something, and then all of a sudden Sigourney Weaver comes around the corner, and she's like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
And basically like tells him like what happened and stuff. But I don't remember what I've seen that, whatever that is, or it was a fever dream, and none of this is
No.
real.
I'm pretty sure it's either 2 or 3.
Okay.
But I get them confused sometimes.
Okay, then I've seen
Yes.
that. 'Cause-
Yes.
Or if I saw this one, I saw it as a
'Cause I know-
very young child
so-
and have no
Well,
memory.
2 is basically like, spoiler alert, like all this happens in this movie, and then like she goes back to sleep and she gets woken up like it's like 100 years or something in the future, not when she was supposed to wake up. And
Did
she
the kitty live?
I don't think so. And it's a
How'd
whole
she live?
a whole nother story happening, but she's basically then having to be like, "Oh, I've already been through this before in the first movie, so let me show you how to get through it now in the second one."
Mm-hmm.
And then she comes back again in the third one, and it's a whole other thing, and then there's a dog involved, and there's like a whole it's so
I liked the cat.
yeah. But it's there have been a lot of movies off of it just because of this one movie, Alien, because it was pretty successful back in its day.
Yes.
In 1979. Considered a more like avant-garde, like sci-fi horror movie.
I really did love the way that all the credits and the title card
slowly
forming. I loved that. I was
the
like,
intro,
from
the
start,
captioning going on with the alien coming in all in pieces, and that's kept throughout the whole franchise.
Over the like silhouette of
the space and the planet. Yeah.
I was like,
it's really cool.
Nice. Yeah,
and it really kind of sets a tone of like animosity and like just like ooh, we're in space.
Yeah, and it like wasted no
the deep unknown.
Fox, the 20th Century Fox at the beginning was
so old and retro, wasn't it?
I was like, ooh, fun.
Yeah. It
when
sounded like it was on one of those like gold crank machines.
Yeah.
Yes, and the quality of the image of the 20th century, it was so grainy. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
It gave me very Ganja and Hess vibes.
Yeah. And so fitting that we are now doing Alien after this, because Sigourney Weaver was the director in Cabin in the Woods, last film we did.
Oh yeah, so that's right. She was the director of
fun that we chose this.
Illuminati, not Illuminati, whatever it was, controlling, the gods,
god
feeding the gods. Yes. But yeah.
She's like, I did all that with Alien, and then they were part of. I was trying to think. I was like, what if she was like in a Cabin in the Woods simulation thing, essentially for one of the continents.
Oh, really?
And then she like survived, was a virgin at the end who survives, and then
all tied in together.
And then she became the director. I was like thinking that, and I was like, that's literally not a thing, but it would be fun.
It would be cool to try to like
they
fit that in
were
somehow.
one of the monsters that were in the whole stable that they
in
had.
Our mind. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
And Sigourney Weaver, that's not even her real name.
Oh, what is it?
Well, technically Weaver is her last name, but her name is Susan.
Yeah, that's boring.
Susan Alexandra Weaver. But
Sigourney's kind of hard to say.
She picked Sigourney though because I believe she thought it would be a better stage name and that it would stand out.
Yeah,
and it was someone else's name at some point.
I would not remember Susan Weaver.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
I think it was in a book or something like that she got the name from. But a little fun fact. But yeah, she is the star, and this movie actually catapulted her to even more stardom. And the director Ridley Scott, because a lot of people and directors like his peers revered the movie when it came out, just because it was kind of very visually stunning and it kind of really pushed the boundaries on special effects. And a lot of people, there were, I believe, 2 other directors that were attached to the film before it came out that they were trying to get to make it, but they didn't want to do it because of the intimidation of how many special effects were going to be needed to like pull it off.
Yeah, the set design and everything, like that whole crew or the whole ship in general is very intense. Like, I mean, just the amount of, that those sets weren't completely built, and those people they must have worked overtime.
Busted their ass off. Yeah.
Because that ship had so many little counterparts to it and stuff.
It looked like bones, like almost like a living organism, the ship
Especially
itself.
Especially the one that they go into.
Yes.
When they get
their
little tag-along buddy.
That's right.
That one for sure looks like bones. I was like, this one looks like, in Anastasia,
I've never seen that.
Animated. Oh, okay, well, never mind.
But keep going.
There's a part where Rasputin's head like gets knocked into his stomach, and he's just like sitting in his stomach acid.
That's weird.
And so you're sitting inside of his rib cage and stuff with his little like green tummy acid, and it reminded me of that.
That's in a child's movie?
Yeah.
Anastasia? Wow. I didn't know that.
That was my favorite film growing up.
I'll have to watch it.
I remember.
Because it's not Disney, I know that, right?
Well, now I think it has been bought by Disney, because I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus.
Is it? Okay, I'll have to look it up.
But for the longest time, I thought everyone would be like, she's not a Disney princess.
She wasn't. I don't believe so. Yeah. But it's the way that they fooled everybody.
Disney now owns half
everything.
The world.
So there's that. They probably own Alien too. I believe they do. And so, yeah. Where were we? All of the director, the boarding, the Nostromo.
It's a crew of 7, and it's like a cargo ship.
It's a cargo ship. Yes, and its mission, what they think their mission was to go pick up some shit and then bring it back to Earth. Earth.
Earth.
And we very slow burningly find out that that's not the case.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole at first, like I thought the ship was abandoned because I was just like, whoa. I thought like we were looking at the carnage of what was to come, essentially, because everything looks so abandoned. And then
because they were in their little cryogenically little sleep states. And
but ship looks abandoned, and I said basically get a long tour of the ship and see the lack of people on it.
Yeah.
And I put lots of little whirs and beeps, and then I put, oh psych, they were sleeping.
Yeah, because we have, and I love already, I'm a big fan of the score of the movie.
Like the lack of, if there was like almost no music happening.
Yeah. And if anything, it's more just like
you're like hearing the ship breathe.
Atmospheric music that's happening in the background, and it's not necessarily like type of music.
Not like Indiana Jones or something.
Yeah, and it was composed by Jerry Goldsmith. And yeah, throughout the whole movie, I love
really
how
like
it kind of adds an ambiance throughout everything, makes it more eerie, makes it more, I feel it's what adds the element of horror that this movie,
because it's very like almost like a Quiet Place. It's very quiet.
That's true. And if it wasn't for the score and like the actual music that's like pushing it, I feel like it's more of a, which it is, it's a sci-fi horror movie, but then it leads more towards sci-fi as opposed to being a horror movie, because the sound is what really makes you be like like in that flashing scene at the end with Sigourney, and she's beautiful.
Like, I did like that,
and the music, and it's just like yeah,
and like again, you're just hearing,
it's very visceral.
It feels like you're just hearing the ship, like if you were on there, and like
the sounds that would be happening
naturally, and just lots of mechanical sounds, electrical sounds happening, and then little computers going beep boop beep whoop. And then I made a note of when the soundtrack like officially like kicks in, or at least the first time I noticed it, and it was with like the same it's the same kind of like the theme almost. It was playing at the beginning, and I really liked.
It's like whimsical almost.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It's very light, but with a sense of like something, something's gonna go wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it's ominous.
But also very light, like whimsical. Like I was like, it's almost like fairy music in a sense. Yeah.
But it's got like, it's just enough on that. What is that word? Starts with a D.
On the cusp. D?
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. It'll come to you.
Anyways, but yeah, they were sleeping, and then
this beautiful white room also too, like the way it looks, like it's
the mother room is also one of my faves.
Oh, favorite room. I
was like,
I want a room like that
so
with all the lights.
Extra as fuck, but I'm here for it. It looks really so cute.
It's like an igloo but of lights, and like a little old school computer.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I like that. And then, but yes, this room was very sterile.
Very sterile, and I think that's what it's also giving, because like the movie is very like the elements that it touches, and like the aliens, and then like how they like it's like birth too, and everything. It's like to me,
this is actually the reason I'm terrified of pregnancy. This is one of the main ones, because I'm just so afraid that
of another being inside of you and just bursting out of you,
literally breaking out of my skin.
It's gonna punch right through your belly.
Yes.
Through your left tit. And so it's just really cool, because this scene with all the white and like the way that the little pods open up like a little lotus almost, it's just like, to me, it like really gives like,
I felt very futuristic too.
Futuristic, but it also gave me a sense of just like what's the word, like I don't want to say virginity, but like not virginity, like
pure
purity. Clean, white, like very like the way that later on throughout the movie we find out the theme of like how, like, I mean, it's a little rapey the way that the alien like attaches itself and like forces the baby inside the the scene with Lambert, and then the little tail coming up, like there's a lot of elements that come up through it. And so the way that it has this part at the beginning is just like a really big juxtaposition to like how the rest of the movie, like towards the end, is like it's all black, it's all dark, there's only lights flashing, as opposed to how we started with all this white and light. I don't know, it's like kind of a gradient.
Like yes, I agree, that is nice. When the first guy, who we later find out is Kane, is his name, whenever he first is like there, because it kind of focuses on him, you can see his full dick outline.
I didn't notice that.
I did. I was just like, doop. I mean, it was flaccid.
Pause.
Clearly, but I was like, yeah, no,
it was the 70s. It was 79.
And then he stood up, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I put, yeah, badass Sigourney.
That's the D you were looking for. Yes, badass Sigourney. But
what is that word? Oh, and then I put, a kitty.
Jonesy. Yeah, who we come to find out is a paid actor.
He is?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm assuming
he's probably
so.
A pet actor.
Because no, like the emotive, like the emotion that Jonesy was giving later on in the film, you know, I was like, oh wow, this damn cat's like giving more emotion than half the cast right now.
Yeah, when it was hissing and stuff, I was like, trust your goddamn pets.
And the little
kitty.
like zoom ins on its face that they would have, I'm like, oh wow, this cat really does look like its personality.
They really focus on the cat a lot. Yeah. Man, at the end,
this damn cat though,
when fucking Sigourney's just like flop in the cage.
In the cage, yes. I'm like, oh my god, Jonesy.
She like throws some shit. I'm like,
the
cat.
It like plops 2 times across the floor.
The one time when she's and like, I understand and great that she's trying to save it, but when she's got the like flame torch thrower in her hand, and then she's like looking behind her, she keeps like turning from front to back, and she's like whipping the
with
cage
the flame
around.
with the cat. The cat's like getting flung in there, probably getting a concussion. Yeah, it's poor kitty. But also too, the way that cat got one other person killed, and was kind of like
at first I
fucking with everybody because it would jump out and like run away.
Yeah. I was like, this cat is A, here solely for jump scares, and then B, later on I thought, well, whenever the alien left it alone, I thought that possibly it had gotten inside the cat.
Oh, already.
Yeah.
Yes. It'll be turned into an alien.
I also thought that whenever the little face one escaped, I thought that
it would have gone for the cat.
In the cat as well.
Yeah.
So the whole time I just thought the cat was an alien.
It could be. It could still be. And also too, I'm like, why the cat? And then at the beginning too, until we saw the end, I was like, wait, was the cat like cryogenically asleep too? Like, what's up with that?
Well, like, Well, it was out and about, I think. Or maybe.
But then at the end, remember, she puts it into the
thing with her. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. How
maybe
does that
it's
work?
her personal cat. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have them all waking up. They're all coming to from their slumber. They've been asleep, I'm sure, for some time because they've been waiting to get back to Earth.
And even as they're waking up, it's still very silent. And we're still just getting really the sounds of the ship, the sounds of them kind of shuffling around.
They're all kind of getting their bearings. They're getting settled.
Yeah, because I imagine it's got to be very, like,
groggy.
Yeah.
Coming out from that.
Yeah. Very.
And it's someone was smoking a cigarette or something, and I'm like, can you smoke cigarettes in space?
Yeah, I thought that too. What? I think it was Kane.
Yeah, right.
I think he was smoking one, and I was like, is that allowed?
I can't smoke a cigarette in an airplane, but like you can smoke it in space.
Well, I mean, you technically can smoke cigarettes they used to in the 70s.
It's just that it's a hazard.
Yeah.
Because then something could catch on fire, and then like.
That ship was like a whole house, though.
It was huge.
Not a house.
It
was huge. Was like a whole mall.
It was huge. It was like a football stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gigantic.
It was huge.
I mean, the fact that even for 7 people, ungodly huge.
Yes.
Anyways.
That's it, you guys. The spaceship was huge. The Nostromo. But yeah, then we have is that when we get to see the little light dome room after they're all doing their little shit?
Dallas goes and speaks to Mother. As they so lovingly call her.
Yeah, it's a really cool fucking room.
Yeah, that room is cool. And he finds out that they basically woke up early due to a transmission of unknown origin.
Every time they say that, it was a transmission of unknown origin. And then they're like, where's it from? And he's like,
I don't fucking know.
Unknown origin. Yeah. But yeah, so it woke them up.
And Parker's like, I don't get paid to do this. Parker's like, all about that money.
All about the money. He's
too.
A union worker, as some would say, I believe. So he's all about
He was probably one of my favorite characters.
He knows his worth. Yeah.
Especially at the end when he ties his little headband on. I'm like, Parker's ready to go. Parker's ready to fuck shit up.
Parker was trying to survive.
Yeah, he was.
I think trying to make it to payday.
Parker is very much in survival
He wanted
mode.
that check.
He did.
Literally. And so yeah, we have him talking to Mother. They found out that they woke up early, so that's when he goes to tell all the other people, right? As they're like
Eating.
they're eating, yeah,
Like
just
cereal,
chilling, trying to,
things
and
like
then
that.
they're talking shit about the food. You kind of see like they're just in their kind of quarters. It's kind of like a cafe almost because you just kind of hear all the conversations going on at once.
It reminded me very much of like any
Like a lunch,
other little
office working lunch kind of party.
Yeah, I feel like every spaceship movie has like a little, it's like a mess hall.
Yeah,
that you just sit there and eat in. Yeah. And so it felt very, which I guess this was one of the first, so maybe they're all
inspired from that. Yeah. And that makes
That's
a lot of sense. Because like you're right, everything that I do think of now,
I think I'm thinking of Firefly in particular. Firefly, I feel like a lot of the ship kind of, not a lot of it, but parts of it give me similar vibes.
Yeah, like even other movies like Lost in Space, the movie and the series, even the other alien movies like this or the spin-offs, like there's always like this sort of situation or vibe where they're kind of all coming to, waking up from a sleep, and then like they're, eating. We're all like, oh, how was your sleep? Like, you asshole, because there's always a prankster, and there's always someone like this, and there's a bookworm, and then there's someone who's like, let's get back to the mission, you guys. We woke up for a reason.
Yeah. It very much did. Let me just say, Lambert annoyed the fuck out of me. The whole movie. I fucking hated her. When she died, I was like, good.
Her actress, I forget her name, but we'll look it up. She was...
When Dallas was dying, I was like, can you just shut the fuck up?
Oh, yes. It's the way that her voice throughout the whole time was like that whiny, very like...
Most of the time, I was like, why are you talking?
Veronica Cartwright. But she's actually famous because she was in The Birds. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers and a lot of older movies before this one came out. And I think because of this one, she won an award as well. Really? I don't know how, but she won an award. But basically, she thought that she was having the part of Ridley, Sigourney Weaver's part, but she didn't learn until she got to like fittings and like all the stuff for clothing department that she actually was cast as Lambert, and she didn't want to do it. But really convinced her to stay on because she didn't like the character because she thought it was too like emotional and like back and forth and whiny. And he said that her character was supposed to represent the perspective of the audience watching the movie, of like being like scared and not knowing what the fuck is going on. And
which like, I can see that totally.
But also very whiny.
It was a little over the top in my opinion. But anyways, they are sitting there and they are going now through to kind of go, they've decided to go find this transmission and follow it essentially, and they're sitting down and all that stuff, and they realize like that's not our system, our solar system kind of thing. Like Sigourney or Ripley just keeps saying that's not our system.
It's a Lambert, and Lambert's like, I know, I'm trying to figure it out, because she's like, she's their what's it called, they're like navigator, I guess. Trying to show them where they're supposed to be going. And then they finally are like, we're gonna go check it out, because I guess apparently they're obligated, quote unquote, to check out whatever any message
like
they intercept.
A contractual clause that they actually had to follow, because Parker was like, I don't get paid for that. Yeah. And then
he's like, we have to
Ash,
do it.
Is that his name? Ash?
It's Ash, right?
Yes. He says, actually, at this part, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense. And later you would remember that.
And so it's the way that they're going there, and it's the longest landing ever.
It really is.
It's so long, them trying to land. And it's funny because, I mean, I get it. It's 1979. And I love this movie. But yeah, some parts of it are a little dated, even though the most of it does look great.
I still liked the graphics of all of it landing, though. Yeah. I actually still really like that.
It's the way I'm like all these close-up shots, because we know it's back then, so there's no like really like grand special effects or like CGI. I mean, you know, so they have to like, it's all practical. Yeah. So, but like kudos to them too for knocking all that out.
There was a lot of talking, like. I was trying to listen, and I had my subtitles on as always. But basically I was just like, with so many people talking, like my brain was like, what? I can't fucking focus on anything, because then Lambert like just kept saying the same thing, and then so did other people. Like I felt like they just kind of looped some of those sounds, maybe. Except for, and then there's a lot of countdowns that happen, but that's kind of cool.
In the longest landing ever. And then finally we get down and we touch down.
And there's a big metal creaking sound. I was like, that ain't good.
Yeah, and it's the way and they're landing, they messed up something fucked up. And so and they're like, it's going to take what, like 17 hours or over that to like get ready?
They lost some secondary unit, like holding areas. I was like borderline crash landing because it looked so solid. And then all of a sudden, like the moment, it was just like, it looked like they had successfully touched ground, and then it's like,
yeah,
all inside.
The way they landed on like the ridge of a mountain or something. Yeah.
But Parker says, he says, or no, who's Brett is the other guy's name.
Brett, yeah.
Brett says, it looks like it'll take about 17 hours. And then so Parker responds and he goes, at least 25 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, you lazy motherfucker.
Like 17 is if we're working as hard as they should be paying us. Yeah.
It was
but
funny.
For what they're paying us, 25.
It made me laugh.
But yeah, it's the way that they're down there. They're going to get all that fixed. But while they're getting that fixed, it's the way that Dallas is like, well, we're going to go on an exploration and go find out where that, beacon, the message is coming from. Because they're like, it's walking distance. I love when he's like, is it walking distance?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. But yeah. And I love how he's like, all right, what is something about Lambert? But he's like, and Lambert, you too. And I'm like, just like basically you're going to go out there, like not even like asking her. She's like,
he just volunteered her.
That's you. Yep. Come on. You're coming out.
Yeah. So it's Dallas,
I don't know how
Lambert,
I would feel about going out.
Kane.
Yeah. On an unknown, like, I mean, I don't know. I am pretty curious, but then I don't know.
Yeah, I would 1,000% want to be one of those first people. I'd be like, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
And then, yeah. But I wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
You wouldn't? Hopefully I would.
You would. I feel like you would for a while. You'd make it at least to like the third act.
Yeah.
And then like
die if Lambert
in this violent,
can survive, then I can survive.
Horrible like death.
It better be fucking cool.
Like body getting ripped
really
apart.
Good kill, yeah. Gut me from throat to groin.
You morph into one of the aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, let me join you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'll become a beluga whale.
And so, you guys. Caitlin thinks the xenomorphs look like beluga whales.
Is that what they're called?
Xenomorphs.
Okay.
Yes. And you think they look like a beluga whale?
They do.
They're very slick and shiny, like dolphins, like little whales.
And then I looked up beluga whales earlier, and I was showing some of my employees a side by side. I was like, "Look, beluga whale, alien, beluga whale,
alien. Can you spot the difference? Nope.
Yeah." And they were like,
I can't either.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
Well, because they are very, yeah. I get maybe the inspiration was drawn from like the whale. It's so cute. Oh, that's so cute. I love little whales.
They're so cute.
And so yeah.
The alien's face is honestly kind of cute until it opens up its mouth.
For its little mouth.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
The teeth.
This one's saying hello.
Oh, those are. I
hope they're putting it back. Oh, return to sea. Aw.
Little beluga, baby beluga. That used to be a song, wasn't it?
Oh, the xenomorph.
Look at it. I love
dolphins are aliens.
We're gonna just switch this over from a horror movie podcast
to beluga whale
lovers, where we watch belugas 24/7. You guys.
Today we heard another splash.
Literally, and we just like communicate in beluga whale. We have guests that talk about the beluga whales. We can invite some marine biologists. We can invite like enthusiasts.
We'll go get waterproof podcast equipment and go interview beluga whales.
All right.
Aren't beluga whales like? Can't they kill you?
No. Oh. No beluga whale has ever killed any person ever.
That's a killer whale.
Yeah. That's an orca. I actually don't know. There might have been some beluga whale killings, but
yeah, I don't know.
We're not gonna slander the beluga whale here.
Who knows?
Koalas have chlamydia.
Really, all of them? Naturally?
Not all of them, but it's rampant within the koala community.
Damn.
Yeah, they just be out there itching bums, and like their poop is green, and like they get chlamydia, and like their little buttholes get all itchy and red, and like you can look it up on Google. It's like you don't even have to like turn the safe engine.
Well, that's
search
why
off.
They're so fucking angry.
Probably.
God damn.
But they're so cute.
They are.
Love
Anyways,
anything from the outback though, it's gonna kill you.
As Dallas, Lambert, and Kane go out, though, this is where the theme music kicks back in.
Yes.
And it's very subtle, and I really liked it. It adds. It does not ever distract.
Yeah.
Ever.
No. And it's building. It's like not like, It really drives where the movie's going, because then it's like, they're walking, they're out there. One, you're like this very like mountainous, terrainous, like how the fuck it's the way that they get to the station. I'm like, how the fuck did y'all get there that quick?
I know. It looks like far. Like stalagmite.
Yeah, very much like that.
Just on stalagmite grows.
Stalactites.
Which one grows up?
I don't remember. Stalactites, probably, because stalagmites grow down.
Yeah.
Stalactites. Stalagmites, stalactites,
yeah,
right?
I don't fucking know.
Y'all know what we're talking about. Anyways.
I'll Google.
Yes, Google it, because Google got me through a lot.
Stalagmite.
And stalactite, right?
Versus stalactite.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, they are called. So stalactite is formation that hangs. Stalagmite are the ones that go up.
So close. Damn, I was really.
What is it called when a stalagmite meets a stalactite? Ooh, it's just a pillar. That's fucking boring.
It's a fucking pillar.
I was like, ooh, and then it just says pillar or column. Oh
God, it's a fucking column. How boring. Break that shit in the middle, and then the whole cave system like falls to shit.
Anyways, they see that weird ship.
They see the weird ship in the shape of a little horseshoe.
Yeah, it's like a wishbone.
It is. And then it's funny because
they've never seen a ship like that before.
They've never seen a ship like that. But it's the way that prequels sometimes kind of ruin when you watch originals, because the prequels came out, Prometheus and Covenant, and this ship is in Prometheus, and that's what you see. And so it's funny seeing it there.
Now I'm glad that I've
really
never
cool.
seen Prometheus.
Okay.
Because now I know the OG.
Yeah.
And so I can have more appreciation for it.
It's like this one, but it's not this one, because that one technically comes in the timeline before this one.
Yeah,
right?
So Prometheus is like before.
Yes, Prometheus and Covenant. But
recently,
yes, exactly.
In recent
and so
years.
it's kind of like the odd thing of like the old Star Wars movies, and where like we have the 2000 Star Wars movies that came out, and they're supposed to be prequels that predate what happened in like the 60s. Yeah, exactly. But like the effects are so much better.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how are you supposed to believe that this shit supposed to be before that shit, but that shit looks so outdated compared to what you're seeing now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what this kind of.
But like, I mean, I guess when I know that, because even a lot, I mean, the original Star Wars, they're beautifully done for their time. Yeah. And then there's, of course, some advancements for 1 through 3. Now, are they good? They're not bad. I liked them as a kid.
I like them.
Yeah.
But it's very debatable. And I think it's also, too, like a lot of people
I would still watch them. I'm not going to sit there and be like, I hate this.
But
But 4 through 6 is obviously superior.
And also what I feel like I've observed, too, is a lot of people who like grew up with 4, 5, and 6 as their original set of 3. When they see the other ones are like,
they're like, oh,
this is trash. Yeah. Like, this is obviously doesn't defeat or over,
It's like when you read Percy Jackson and then you see the movie. It's like
literally crying. Yeah,
anyways.
You get a little let down. But that's what this kind of gives me because of that. But yes, we see the horseshoe ship. It's there. They're like in amazement. It's the way they keep going.
I really like the first person point of view that we're getting from Dallas's cam, and how like the loss of transmission. Yeah. That makes it pretty scary. Yeah. I was like,
because they're out there in the middle of God knows where.
What the fuck's gonna pop up?
LV2 something, whatever.
I didn't know if the xenomorph came out. That point. Yeah. I was like looking and all the different things, trying to see the beluga whale head, and I was like, where is it?
Yeah. And see, that's why I also really love the movie, and that's what Ridley wanted to do with it.
What's terrifying is how quickly it grows. That is fucking terrifying.
From baby to like fully fledged.
Full ass adult.
Like a matter of hours.
Yeah,
couple
that's
hours.
Scary.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, this thing grows fast.
Yeah, and there's spawn time too, like the way they can recreate too. So that's pretty freaky. Yeah. It just takes them like someone, and then like a new one comes out.
Good.
Little baby.
It's fucking wild.
And all those eggs. So we're getting there. Sorry, you jumped the gun. They get inside the ship, right? And then it's
the communications are failing.
They can't talk back with the Ash and Sigourney, or Ridley. Sorry. And that's whenever Ridley's like, I'm gonna try to decipher this message on my own while they're out there searching. And then Ash is kind of just like. It's kind of like he doesn't want her to do it, but he's just like, he's not going to outright be like, no, don't do that. So he's just kind of like, okay, whatever. and he's like, I can only make out half of it or something like that, and it was a SOS.
Yeah. But then she said it sounds more like a warning.
A warning, and she wants to go warn them, but he's like, well, by the time you get there, they'll have found out if it was a warning or not.
Yeah.
And that's what the first thing that struck me as like, that's sketch.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
What? Sounds like you know something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they sit there and when you find a dead alien life form, I feel like that's when I would be like, nope.
Bye. Yeah. So they get in that ship and they see the big ass like alien in the
captain's chair.
Mm-hmm, captain's chair.
It's like fossilized, growing into the chair.
And they actually from the far away angle shot, those were children as stunt doubles for them to make it seem. That's why it looks so big.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
Those were children put in their little spacesuits.
Oh, I can't wait to go back and look at that again.
And so that's why it makes it look like he's like so fucking huge.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it did. It looked giant. Yeah. It was fucking massive. I was like, that's some like Jabba the Hutt times 10. Fucking wild. And then they were like, whoa, the bones are bent outward, like it exploded from the inside.
Popped out.
And I was like,
that's a big like warning sign.
I put the little eyeballs.
Yeah. That's a red flag.
Then they go find a weird hole and they're like, let's go down it. I was like, no.
And that's the way too. I think I wrote too. I'm like, why would we be exploring this? This is not like we don't know where we're
something
at.
Is dead.
Why go further? Like the guy is dead. Like something killed it. Obviously, something penetrated its fucking rib cage. If something's going out,
don't need to save him. Yeah, I put like the moment I saw that dead thing, I would have dipped.
Like that's where you like,
and I'm out.
You don't have to be the person who discovers everything. Binge Pokey, owe me a Coke. Yeah, like you discovered the ship. That's it. You know, yeah, that's it. Like that's when you like leave, you dip and you report it, and then more and more people come, and then they can go exploring when there's more appropriate equipment, there's lighting, like I don't know, like you're going into like you don't know what's there. The unknown, yes. But that wouldn't be a horror movie.
That's right. We have to explore.
Yes.
So he goes down, Kane goes down, and he says the cave like is enclosed and it's full of these leathery objects, and he says like eggs or something.
I'm like, if it looks like an egg, it's shaped like an egg, it's probably an egg. Eggs are eggs.
I was like, oh, don't fucking touch the eggs.
Eggs beget eggs, literally. Yeah.
And he's like, there's this layer of mist over the eggs that when you disturb it, it reacts. Yeah.
Did you notice too that in the background, the noise, the music that was playing, it wasn't music, but like the ambiance noise, it sounded like a rattlesnake hissing, like the tail rattling.
I couldn't remember. Who makes that like little glug glug set that?
I don't know. Something does. Isn't it Predator? Yeah.
Okay.
Predator
I couldn't
makes
remember.
A little clicking noise.
I was confused as to who made which noise.
Predator makes
and so I thought
noises.
I thought that like a mama xenomorph was gonna come out and be like,
God.
"Don't touch my eggs,
babies.
Bitch.
Those are my children."
Yeah.
Literally.
I thought that because I remember hearing it and I was like, "Is that the sound they make?" And then I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, there's one hiding nearby."
And then, we have Kane's clunky ass, clumsy,
slips.
just falls into the pit of eggs. And then it's like, well, let me just disturb them more and rub up on them. After he's like,
see the like,
after he sees the life form in it. Yeah. At that point, I'm like, oh, this is obviously alien life. Like you don't know what that means. With this. Literally.
Yeah. And I was like, bitch, don't touch an egg, bitch.
Touch the
egg.
And
then he
opens the egg, and it's like
hatching.
A little like it's like a little like
it opens
a
like
souffle, like a little literally like a little steam pops off. It's the way I'm like, oh, that's a pussy. Like it looks like one. I've never seen one, so that's what I was assuming what it would look like.
That looked like the
Can I say
future the fortune teller things that you would fold as a kid with the four.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes, when you would like because you talk about it's like you pick a number, pick a color, and then you open up, and then you'd like you will have something by the time you were 28. I don't know. I'm just saying that up.
Yeah, those little fortune teller things. Yeah. It looked like that, but I can guarantee you, I've never met
they
a
used to be
pussy
called.
that looks like
didn't
that.
they also?
Don't have 4 points.
They were called cootie catchers, cootie catchers.
What were those things?
Yes, for some reason.
Cootie catchers.
Something. I kid you not. They were called cootie catchers at one point.
I don't know. I remember those.
Like, catch
I remember
cooties. I don't know.
MASH, and then I remember the circle poke, or circle dot. Now I've got a cootie shot. Circle, square. Now I've got it everywhere. And then you tell that to the boys, be like, "Ha, I can't get your cooties," or something. I don't know.
Wow, we were such weird children.
Anyways.
What a generation.
Okay. I put, we don't trust anything that opens that way.
Yeah, so.
Don't trust no pussy that opens like that.
Do not.
Fucking get away from it. That's an alien life form.
Like a waffle. And so it's the way that then the little thing just like unravels and then
right on
snatches onto his face. Yeah, and it's the way that at that point, we're just back to Ridley and Ash, and then it's the way.
Yeah, they're saying like let us in, and I was like,
she doesn't want to let him
Ripley.
in. Obviously, and she's following protocol. She's like, I
know
can't.
Quarantine.
There's something on that guy's face.
They were like, he'll die, and she goes, we could all die if we let it in, and then they are basically like, what do you want us to do? And so they fucking let him in. But break time.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah. So.
But fucking Ash overrides her.
Ash overrides her and opens up the fucking door.
And that's when I would have been like,
at that point,
Ripley knows.
Super sketch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's already like, nah, we're going to have beef. Because she's just like, at that point, she was the commanding officer, which she will say that later on. But because,
when
Dallas and Kane were off of the ship already. So we have them come in, and then what happens then? They get him to the whole medical bay area.
Yeah, and they're cutting off the mask.
Cutting off the mask.
Really, you only see it go on to Kane's face, and you don't latch onto his like helmet. You don't see it actually attached to him, so you don't really know what it did.
And so it obviously clearly melted through his fucking mask, space helmet, and they get the space helmet off, and so they have to like cut it off of him.
Freaky octopus breathing
mask. It's like wrapped around his neck with its little tail, and it's got the little digits on it.
Not coming off without taking his face off too. Like it's gonna take his actual scalp and everything with it. And then every time they try to move it, the tentacles tighten around his neck.
Yes. And so it's the way that then I love whenever Ridley comes down and she's like, what's happening? And then she finally sees and you see her eyes opening of like what's like on his fucking face. And so then I guess what Ash is the one who's like, we should just leave him like this. We don't want to, we don't know what could happen. But Dallas is very adamant of like, we need to cut this off. Like we need to try to get this off of him.
And he can't disobey the captain.
Yeah, and
because he says like they see that it's feeding him oxygen from some sort of like
it's keeping him alive X-ray. For some reason.
Yeah, and Ash is like, if we cut this off of him, he could die. And he's like, well, that's a risk I'm willing to make now.
Yeah,
basically.
And so they try to cut it off of
bony
him.
Finger things. It's got like acid that eats through everything.
Its blood is acid,
which is fucking insane.
Yeah,
and it eats through what 3 layers?
About
of
3 layers
ship?
of the shape of the shape. It does. I like to stir them. It went through the layers. Yes, 3 layers of the ship, and it goes down, and it's the way they're like running all the way to the bottom. And at that point, I'm thinking like, what are y'all gonna do? Like,
when it just goes outside to the space.
Well, and I'm just like, what could they do? Like. You can't catch it with a bucket. It's just gonna like eat through the bucket. Like, what are you gonna do?
And then whenever he asked Brett for his pen, and then he takes it and like kind of puts it in there, and he's like, "Oh, it stopped." But I was like, "What was your intention with that? You didn't know it was gonna stop. Like maybe enough acid just like got caught on the upper levels. Yeah, it's like you're just gonna degrade.
Poor pen.
But yeah,
yes, this poor man's pen. It's the way that he hesitates. He's like, "It's my fucking favorite pen."
And then he hands it back, and Brett's like, "I don't want that fucking pen." Now he's like,
what if I touch it? I'm gonna like die.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a very threatening pen now. And so they check it. They're like, oh fuck. And so it's the way that they're now like, well, what do? We can't cut it off of him. So basically, it's just like just leave it on him and monitor the situation. For the most part.
Parker is spitting facts, but I don't know where. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was saying like, "No, let's get this thing the fuck off this ship."
Yeah,
that's what I feel like it was, but I don't know.
I feel like those are pretty much Parker's vibes throughout the whole thing. They can't cut it off.
He said that's what it was. My next note says basically it's just that he was saying we shouldn't have followed that distress call to begin with.
Oh yeah.
Like we shouldn't have ever landed there. That place was creepy looking. Everything was sketch, and we shouldn't have landed there.
And then that's after that, like on my notes, I believe I might have missed a few like little smaller interactions, but that's where I get like the little scene where Ash is there like looking at his little scientific little board, his computers, and then Ridley. Oh God, Ripley.
Yeah.
Ripley comes up, and that's where she's like,
I just called her Rip a lot. Yeah,
Rips comes up and she starts like basically questioning him because she's like, you undermined my authority, you know, and she's trying to figure out like why would he have done that?
Yeah, because they're sitting there talking, and because she first starts with
when she's saying, very sassy.
Yeah, and she first asks like, so what is going on? Yeah, and he like is sitting there
collating.
Yeah, that is later.
Oh, okay,
but there's at one point where he like tells you basically exactly what it's doing, and I think that is cool. It's saying it sheds its cells and replaces it with polarized silicone or silicone, and it is essentially
makes it
giving
a tough
it a
bitch.
prolonged resistance to adverse environmental conditions. And he said making him a tough little son of a bitch. And she goes, yeah, and Ripley goes, yeah, and you let it on the ship. And then she's basically being like, what the fuck? And he goes, well, I forgot that you were senior officer when they're gone. And she was like, you fucking... And she was like, you definitely just jeopardized like the rest of them. And he goes, you do your job, let me do mine. And I was like...
Yeah. There's some shade from both of them going on. And it's the way that she obviously doesn't trust him. And I mean, it's not
because
that...
how do you forget? Yeah. And then I was like, is it because she's a woman? I was wondering if like that was part of it or what, that they just... Because a lot of the time I feel like they were kind of brushing her off.
At this point, you don't know that the twist of him being... Yeah, so it's just like...
Yeah, I didn't know.
I feel that. Okay. Because I've already seen it, so it's like going in. I'm like, oh yeah, but
yeah, I didn't know that he was bad. I thought he was doing some shady shit. Yeah. But I didn't know he's a fucking robot, milk-filled robot.
Literally milk-filled, calcium. The actor actually hated milk too, and it's the way they made him drink so much milk.
Oh, so it was a lot of milk.
It was milk, actual milk.
Okay, that's why I was like, why has he got milk dripping from his forehead?
It's supposed to be the blood of the robot, or it's liquid fluid, whatever that keeps
like
it alive, pumping.
Oil.
Yeah, basically. And so, they have this beef whole little situation happen, and then finally she's just kind of like, whatever, and then they leave it. They don't really squash it. And then at that point, she goes and she questions Dallas, right?
Yeah, I think they're she's either with Dallas or they were back at the mess hall, but then Ash calls them again and is like, you better come see.
Yeah, because at that point she was talking to Dallas about like, I don't trust him, or who is he? And that's when Dallas is like, oh, I had a different guy for. Is that a little bit
later?
Oh, okay, but around that same kind of.
Yeah, around the same time. Yeah,
things happening. And then Ash calls them back in, and it's because the little face hugger is off of.
It's just like gone.
Yeah,
and
we see Kane's
up
face.
And he's like,
well, not yet,
jokes.
Right? Because at that point. The thing is gone, but he's still laying there, and they're looking for it in there, and they're like, where the fuck did it go? And then
this
we
is
get
when
that,
I actually jumped.
We get the little jump scare of the face crawler falling down on Ridley.
Yeah, it fell down on
Ripley.
Yeah, it fell down from the ceiling rafters or whatever, and whenever it fell onto her, I definitely jumped and went.
Yeah,
like I was like, oh fuck, like don't get Ripley. No.
As soon as the little tail, it's like, oh shit, yeah.
I was like, oh god, it's gonna get on her face.
It's even the way that she freaks out too. So it adds to it. And then we have.
I wonder if they like didn't tell them where they were gonna drop it, and they just dropped it on them.
I'm not sure about that part.
That would be cool though.
I
just want everyone to do things like Blair Witch and traumatize.
Well, later on, the famous scene with Kane, that they didn't know what was happening there.
Oh, really?
They weren't told specifics. They were just told like something is going to happen. And the only one I think who knew about it was Kane, obviously, because he was in on it. But the other actors didn't know like the blood was going to be going everywhere, and so the reaction from like the one we don't like, the bitch we don't like, Lambert. Yeah, like it was all real, and she actually fainted after it happened, like in real life.
Yeah, I would have too. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, because they weren't told like exactly how it would happen.
Damn, that's crazy.
And so we have them looking for it fucking falls on Ripley, and then they're like, it's dead. And so that's whenever
she's
they
like, get
decide,
rid of that
yeah,
fucking
but
thing.
then Ash is like, no, we have to obviously, dissect it and look at it. And I'm like, oh, this thing looks gross. And he's looking at it, and at that point I'm like, what can you do with it? Like, its blood is acid. Like, it's more dangerous than it is like a beneficial scientific exploration.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the way that at that point, that's why she's asking Dallas later, because he leaves it up to Ash to like do what you want with it. Basically, you're the science department or whatever. So
yeah, and she's saying she doesn't trust him. And then I was like, yeah, they 1000% don't need to be taking off with that on board. Like,
yeah,
no,
it's no good. It's bad juju.
Yeah. I was like, no, that sitting there experimenting on it and stuff is just like, just maybe leave it. It's already like clearly.
It's bad. It's already done
someone.
Bad things to someone. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it could do. We don't know what it has done. There's too many unknown questions, but it's obviously a horror movie, so they're going to make decisions that don't actually make sense in real life. But then I'm like thinking to myself in that situation, like, what would you do in that?
I mean,
like how do you actually
and
make
then knowing
these choices?
that he is making this, like, like for...
Oh, yeah.
That he's against them.
Because we as the audience later on, we do find out that like this was all driven by his like manipulation of like there was an alternate motive, but they don't know that. So they're just kind of like doing what they can in the moment.
I
but
feel
it's
like I
I'm
would
like,
be like,
Ash
get
is
that motherfucker.
sketch as fuck. He's up to something. And that's the way that they're all, then what, they're in the mess hall, they're all like, because Kane does eventually, he gets up, they're like, oh yeah, you're feeling better, they get him, they're like trying to have their last meal before they like get back to sleep because they're going to try to get back to Earth.
They find out, they're 10 months from
away.
Earth.
And then they're all kind of having their last meal, and
he seems very hungry and thirsty. I noticed he was like kind of, he had drank like 2 cups of water or something when he first sat up, and then he was sitting there eating a bunch, and I was like, And then
and it's the way for me though, even too, like at this moment I'm like, why are they all like, they saw this man had that thing on his face and they're just like around him like nothing.
Chill.
Like I feel like I'd be like, I don't know, you might have something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like how when they get back to Earth they can't wait to eat like some better food, and then he says, I'd rather be eating something else.
Yeah. We're talking about,
he like raises his eyebrows a little bit, and Lambert's like
yeah.
But then
they gotta
starts
fit that in somehow.
Yeah.
But then Kane obviously starts having a little moment. He's coughing up. It's like he's having some
in pain.
And he then gets on the table, and we have this really famous scene that really just catapulted this movie into like what it is known today, because everybody knows this iconic scene of the chest burster coming out of his chest. And we have this little alien baby just ripping out.
He put, oh, sweet little baby. I like how it
the way
punches first and you get the blood.
Literally goes through. It goes on everybody. I love the way when it comes out, it literally like sizes the room up. It's just
and
like,
then it zooms the fuck off.
Like literally like size, like it has no eyes, but I could feel like it's glaring at everybody like, yeah, fuck with me, bitch. I'm the new kid on the block.
And then all I could think of though was, hello my baby, hello my darling.
And then it's the way that
Spaceballs.
Yes, and then Parker tries to kill it, but Ash is like, no. And then the little thing just yeets off, literally.
He literally goes so fast.
Yeah, and I'm like, with what legs? With what legs? It's like a little worm.
Tail.
A little worm.
He's like a little like snake person.
A little snaky snake.
Yeah,
a little Jabba the Hutt.
He goes so fast though. I was like, damn, that motherfucker is going.
Zooming.
It was like a little string was attached to us, and it just got yanked.
Well, because I mean, that's all it knows. The thing is like meant to survive. Like it's literally a beast that's just an organism that's just meant to just like devour and survive and multiply. That's it. Yeah.
It's its only instinct. Unclouded by morals. Yes. He says later.
And so we have this little thing go away, and it's the way that they're all like, oh, okay.
So then they just dump.
Guess now we got an alien. Oh,
they're like,
the way that they literally yeet. I put yeet.
I did too.
Yeet, because Kane gets yeeted out of the spaceship, and it's the way that he's like, anybody want to say some last words? And nobody says last words, and it just gets blank, and it just like it's fucking doing flips into space. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's so funny. I was like, poor Kane, dude, literally got yeeted off the fucking ship. And so
goodbye.
at this point, they're trying to devise that plan of looking for the alien.
Yeah,
they notice
finally
that it's
now they're gonna get rid of it if they can fucking catch it.
It's in the air ducts. They notice, and so they're trying to we have to close off a few, I guess, shafts.
Oh, well, they don't know that yet because first Ash gets that clunky fucking tracking device.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they're going around, and Sigourney has it, or Ripley has it in her hands, and it goes off, and they're like, "It's in that locker."
Yeah.
And that was just.
But it's the cat.
It's the cat, and I was like, "How'd the cat get stuck in that
fucking
locker,
Jones?"
though?
And so then they send off who is
Brett.
it? Brett to go look for it.
He's looking for the kitty, and that's when we find out it's named Jones.
Jonesy.
And this kitty is clearly freaking the fuck out.
Clearly hiding from something, but he's too ignorant to notice. He's too busy taking a fucking bath in this nasty condensation water that's just falling down.
First he finds its shedded skin.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He picks it up, and I was like, oh.
Obviously it got bigger. And you can tell by his own eyes, he was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and he dropped it, and then he just continues on.
Slowly, let me just take a little shower here. I'm like, who the fuck wants to get just soaked and wet?
Yeah,
and all of his clothes.
I just didn't understand why it was raining inside of a spaceship. I was like, where's this coming
from? It
was
like condensation from water tower pillars or something.
Well, why the fuck is he putting his face on it? I don't know.
Yeah. Same.
It was gross.
I had a lot of questions.
I don't like to get wet without my permission.
I'm sure for also dramatic effect as well. Just and then you hear all the chains.
The chains clinging were creepy. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, this
very Hellraiser vibes.
Yeah, and then with just how dark everything was, and then the pitter patter of the rain and stuff, it was very ooh, okay. And then I was like, it could come out anywhere. And then at this point, I was like, Brett is high key dumb though.
And you obviously have little Jonesy that's where I'm like, this is a little paid actor cat because he's really emoting and backing up, arching the back, and then it's the way then Jones
trust your pets
looks around behind him, and we get our first reveal of the alien,
full grown
xenomorph. Just
it looks like a goddamn beluga whale.
A little beluga whale. That's what we're calling it.
And I put
a deadly beluga whale.
I put LOL, the cat just watched. It just sat there.
Literally watched him die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like how it. Oh yeah. And then I did like how it kind of panned in on its eyes though, instead of actually showing Brett getting
murdered
ripped to shreds. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But and this is where I was like, it got hella big, real fast. that's terrifying.
It's huge, as Parker says. He's like, it's huge. That's all.
Yeah.
Cuts to them. Then it's it took him because at that point it doesn't show his death really, but yeah, they're like, it took him into the air ducts, and so then we have Dallas going to be the hero, and he goes and I'm going to go into the air ducts and kind of drive this thing.
He tries to ask Mother about stuff too, and Mother's basically
classified.
Fuck, you're on your own, and I was like, wait, is it fucking with their systems? But I guess it was Ash.
No, yeah, I'm sure it was
not letting
Ash.
him into things. But yeah, he's crawling through those air vents, which. I mean, I guess you have to kind of compartmentalize because, in space, rocket ships break into, threes or whatever, right?
I'm not sure.
They have.
Yeah. Because whenever they go
parts,
off into doot, and then
once they get to space, they ditch some
Yeah.
stuff, and then once they're re-entering, they ditch another, and then.
So where it's just one little part.
Yeah, it's just the tip.
Just
the tip. But yeah, so I'm guessing that's why all these air vents
that makes sense
compartmentalized or something, because then he's close off
section
3 I don't know what the other word I was thinking of
it's like anything. It's even in ships like steamliner ships, how they would have sections like that, the Titanic, back in the day,
quadrants.
There we go, quadrants. And so we have all of that happening. Then yes, he's in the air ducts. That's the way he's looking for it, but he can't really find it. And at that point, fucking Lambert's failing at her job because she loses track of it. And so then finally, we see it, and she's like, it's coming right towards you.
Lost the signal of the alien.
And she's like, you better get out of there right now. And she doesn't. But it's the way that she doesn't tell him which way to go.
Yeah, until he goes
away,
down.
And she's like, not that way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, are you kidding me, Lambert?
This is when I put Lambert is kind of annoying as fuck.
Literally.
Yep.
And so the moment when Dallas dies, and then we have the turnaround, yes. And we have this.
It looks like it's going for a hug.
A hug, literally. It's like,
I just wanted a hug.
Literally, he died from an alien hug. It wanted to have some something with him. Coagulation.
Alien
Coitus.
Sex.
And so then we pretty much just figure out that Dallas is dead. We don't really get a actual like death scene, but we do. So
it really doesn't show you a lot of the carnage.
I'm assuming that you also, as I watched the theatrical cut, because there is a director's cut, and apparently it never shows his death, but later on in the director's cut, they did film extra footage where you see later that Dallas isn't necessarily dead. He's like cocoonified into like this thing, essentially trying to be
like
being
stored
made
for food later.
Yeah, or
like
I think it's supposed to be
spider
yeah,
Lord of the
like
Rings.
That. Almost like that. Yeah. For sure. With Sam.
Yeah.
Gimme. What is his name?
Sam Wise.
There you go. Gamgee. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dallas is dead, and then it's the way that at this point, Ridley is the new captain. Ripley.
Yes.
Oh gosh, Ripley is the new captain, and
This is where I put Parker's gone full survivor mode with this little headband. He's like, let's fuck some shit up.
We're getting out of here alive today. And so they're at that point deciding that same plan. They're gonna try to get it out of the air ducts, right?
Yeah, but they can't split up. They need to stay
together. But then they
split up.
Yes. I don't remember why, but they end up splitting up. She has to go back and get something, right?
Yeah, and then like Parker, I think he just kind of takes off on his own because he's basically, or she says like, how are all the weapons?
That's
and he
right.
says this one needs to be like oiled up.
I remember. So they're trying to get out of the extra space shuttle, the the emergency, we got to get out of here space shuttle. But it's the way that it needs some more. I forget the word, but it was like hydrogen or coolant. And so she tells Lambert and Parker, go get all the coolant you can. And she was going to prep they're going to blow up the ship. She was going to go prep the, whatchamacallit?
The detonation system.
The detonation system.
Yeah. And like, but then they also figured out that there's 4 and the ship can't hold 4 is what it said.
Oh, that's right.
And so then there was the issue of they were going to wait because, well, at this moment, Ash, Parker, Lambert, and Ripley were alive. And
you're right. And I think I'm jumping the gun because, my bad, at that point, that's whenever she went to go get her own answers. Because
and this is where we get the
collated thing because she talks to Ash of like,
he says,
what do you think about all this?
And she basically says same thing you've been doing all this time, nothing.
Yeah, like because he's like, I'm so collating, and she's like, I find that hard to believe. And so that's where she's like, I'm gonna get my own answers. And so she goes into the little mother room, and that's when she finds out that the real mission was to go get this alien species and bring it back.
Yep.
And
the crew's
basically they're expendable, like their lives did not matter. And so that's whenever you get creepy little Ash motherfucker being right beside her when he's like, oh yeah, that's the real mission. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was so fucking like, ugh.
Yeah. And then he attacks her.
Yeah.
And then it's the way that he basically almost is gonna kill her, but then we have Parker coming in to save her, and
then like at first that was when I noticed the milk
coming out of his head. It's like sweating milk.
Yeah, I was like, what is leaking on his head? And then I put, I guess it was just sweat. And then whenever he exploded, I went, oh no, okay, I was correct. It was some weird white substance dripping on his head.
He's a robot.
Yeah. Because
Ash
the way that he was
robot.
like choking her too with the magazine, and then I thought it was entertaining with all the women pinned up on the wall. Yeah,
literally.
I was like, what a
what a way to like
phallic kind of suggestive death.
There's a lot of suggestive things in this movie. But yeah, no. And then she gets saved by Parker and Lambert, and they like knock him out. He's like
his fucking head explodes.
Fidgeting. His head gets popped off.
Yeah, because he was acting real weird. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then when it happened, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Because then his little arms just kept going like.
Yeah, and you didn't know at this point that he was a robot, but I already knew. And so watching the movie back, there were certain mannerisms that he did throughout the movie that I was like, they were, it was in front of my face the whole time, but you don't really put it together.
Until, you know.
And so then,
Because even until he, like, I thought maybe he was some sort of weird alien. I didn't really put it together until Parker goes, he's a robot. And I was like, oh, okay.
He's an android. And so
because I was like, why is he leaking milk? I was like, I literally put, how come he is filled with milk as a robot?
I really want you to watch Prometheus and Covenant, because then it'll really help explain this too. Because in those movies, and they come before this,
they have milk robots too.
There are androids, yes, that help them, and so it's like it makes sense.
I'm gonna call them milk robots.
And so yeah, we have all of that happening. Fucking Ash gets like pulverized by Parker. Basically,
I like how his head
comes
is still,
off.
like,
It's still like
attached,
attached. They like spark plug
cool.
him back up to like hook him back up, because they're basically trying to get some information from him. And it's the way that he's just like, you're all fucked. This is what I came to do.
He said,
I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah. Well,
Or
he actually
what,
does say you have my sympathies.
That's right. Yeah.
But then he gives a smile. But he
you have my sympathy, even though I know you're not gonna like survive. Basically,
yeah,
what
he's
says.
like, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So you have my sympathies.
Yeah.
And he is describing the life form itself, and so we find out that they knew exactly what this life form already was.
Oh yeah.
Too, going into it, it wasn't unknown at all. Like, and he said that its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility, and he says it's a survivor unclouded by morals. Essentially, he says a few other fancy words, but the gist is a survivor unclouded by morals. It's just literally there to survive. And yeah, he says, you have my sympathies. I like the way that whenever they're trying to prop the head up at first,
it keeps like failing,
and then they like get into the table, and then it's so funny the moment that like whenever it dies again, it's very clearly a different face.
Yeah, and whenever she like kicks it or whatever, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was also one part where I was like, that did not age well.
No, it didn't.
No,
but what's fucking gross is whenever they torch it. Does Parker torches it, right?
Yes, he does, because he's kind of petty and he just wants to basically burn him. And so then like the skin like melts off.
Yeah, that skin sloughs off. I was like, ooh, that's kind of gross. So it was.
And so then we have Ash finally dead. And then
now they can fit in 3 in a shuttle.
3, and it's the way then they're prepping all that shit. But then as all that's going down, fucking Lambert and Parker get. It's the way that the alien literally just kind of walks in front of Lambert. Right, and then it's the way that she's like,
because this is where they send him down to get coolant. But then also while this is happening, fucking Jones is meowing.
Oh yeah, and Ridley goes back
Ripley's
to try to get him.
Ripley's looking for it. Yeah, and I was like, Jones is like gonna get them all dead if they keep trying to find him. But yes, and then they're sitting there. I don't know what they had to do with all those canisters. Like they're sitting there like. Maybe were they like charging the ship, I guess?
I'm not sure how that worked, but they needed them. And then they were trying to get them. And then fucking Xenomorph pops up.
Yeah,
and
they're kind of working back to back. Yeah. So it goes in between them.
Yeah, so this is, she's like throwing the next one to him. She sees that the fucking alien is there in front of her. And
the
then
little tail.
She's kind of like a deer caught in headlights, because it's the way that Parker could have probably lit it up, but she was just standing right there in front of him, and he's like, move, and she's like, I can't move, and he's like, move.
And then because
Ridley is like carrying everything, and so then I'm just like, it's
and
the way
at this point she's put Jones in the box,
and it's the way I'm like little cage, and then she is like just kind of like grabbing her whatever, and like it's the way that she's just kind of standing there listening to her, like, is that them? Is that not? And at that point, I'm like, really run that way.
And I was like, Parker, just fucking shoot it. Like, fuck Lambert. She's clearly not going to move. I was like, just fucking shoot it.
If you don't do it, then, but it's the way that he decides to then attack it. And as soon as he lunges forward, it turns around and kills him.
Yeah. Right through him. And at this point, I put, for Ripley, I was like, girl, just leave him. Yeah. I put leave him, because the way that she goes back after clearly they're dead, they're dead. She hears the alien
killing
the xenomorph like going screeching, and then
they're
vocals,
screaming for their lives.
Yeah, screaming and then abruptly cutting off like they're dead. And I was just like, just leave him.
I think also too, if that was on her way to get to the little thing that she had to exit off of.
Yeah. See, I thought she backtracked.
No, because she did, because it was in the way. And that's at that point, she had already started the process of it blowing up.
Yeah, they basically had like 7 minutes to regroup.
Yeah.
And then to get out, that was their plan. And so there's a 10-minute long
There's a
detonation.
10-minute long detonation. And then at the 5-minute marker is at when it was too late for you to override it and cancel it. So she went all like running that way after the fact of them being dead. She sees them being dead, but then she sees the xenomorph. Literally,
too.
she sees the xenomorph, and that's the way that she's
decorated the ship.
Yeah, like Christmas decorations.
Oh, and Jones is being such a good kibby. Yeah, because she left him as she went back, and Jones was just sitting there being a good kibby,
chilling.
He was like,
yeah. And so she went that way, saw the xenomorph, and is like, I can't go that way. So it's the way she runs back. She's thinking like, well, fuck, new plan, and she's trying to cancel and override the self-destruction.
Yeah. So on the way back too is when we're getting that cool flashing scene.
Yeah.
Because she's got Jones in her hand. She's picked him up again, and this is where I put girls just flinging him around. And I was so stressed out because she kept looking behind her. And not in front of her, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be behind you, or in front of you, as you're moving this way, but you keep looking back so much. But the flashing was so cool.
It's cool.
But I was really flashing, but
also
out.
I'm like, oh god, I'm like also too, I'm like, I'm not epileptic, but this is also hurting my eyes.
Yeah.
And then
it went on for I think a good amount of time. Any longer, it would have been like, okay, this is starting to get.
Yeah.
Stress me out.
And then she's going back. She's trying to override the self,
Which I was confused. I was like, why is she trying to turn it off? But I guess it's because it was in her way to get to the ship.
So she was like, I can't do that anymore. And so she goes back.
I have to kill it.
And so she goes back, but she can't cancel it. It's too late after all of that.
Literally,
and
like
so
a
then she's
second
like, fuck
late.
you, bitch. And she's like, mother, you're a bitch. And then so she's like, really pissed off, and it's the way she has.
Mother is a bitch. You're right, Red.
She has no other choice but to then go back that way, and then she goes into the exit space shuttle because she doesn't see the alien. At that point, too, she's like also with the little kitty, like throwing it through the corridors, trying to get through.
Yeah, I put that. I feel like I'm in a first-person shooter with some of these shots too. The way that we were like almost walking with her or ahead of her. I don't know. It didn't feel like first-person point of view, but like. Some of the shots gave me almost video game quality.
I can see that.
And I mean like current. Well, so like of course it was practical effect.
Yeah.
But some video games have gotten so good to where it looks like that now. So that was pretty cool though. And then that's when Jones is still alive. So I guess at this point the monster has already the xenomorph has already looked at it. Because I thought. The moment I saw the xenomorph like hovering over Jones, I was like, "Oh, that bitch dead."
It said no, but yeah, the cat is still there. She gets it into the little exit space shuttle thing, and the way that she thinks that she's good. So
yeah, she
leaves.
She's just throwing him around, and then I put watch an alien be on the fucking escape ship with her.
And there it is.
And then I was like, or it's in Jones.
And so she gets on, she leaves. We see the Nostromo blow up, and the most dramatic blow up.
It's three big explosions. I was like, why did it happen 3 times?
And then she's in there, and then it's funny because she thinks she's so safe. She's like, chill. And then it's the way that
son of a bitch.
You just see the little thing taking a little nap. It's taking a nap.
That's what I put too, because
he's so tired from killing.
He was.
You're so tired, tuckered out.
And she lets Jones out, and she puts Jones in a sleepy cube, and then of course we get this half-naked scene of her, and I was like, I feel like I remember hearing people growing up being like, Sigourney Weaver is like my sexual awakening, like seeing Ripley in this film
undressed after all of that,
and like her titties,
because she
her
gives very
good 5 out of 5 for me.
It's funny because she also straddles that like sexual complex of like being like a super hyper masculine woman and like badass and like I saved the day, but then also taking the clothes off to like obviously she's a woman, she has female like features on her.
It's for people who want to be dominated.
Yeah, very much that.
They want a dom.
They want a strong woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her fucking underwear though, I couldn't. It was like from the front, I was
ugly. I was like, what kind of fucking ugly underwear
I thought
is that?
maybe they were just rolled up. I don't know.
No, it's the way that it has like almost like a bikini, like a thong, but then like
her ass crack.
It's almost like the actual garment that was on the ass and like the charcuterie was like too small, like a child size.
Yeah.
But it was obviously a bikini.
Like from the front, it just looked like really low-rise underwear, and then I was hoping like maybe on the back it would go up, and then it's
the way that the ass cheeks on the on the other when it was just her booty cheeks. Yeah, it looked like Miley Cyrus when she had that bad meme go around her from like the VMAs in 2013, like like little booty like that. It looked like a Hank Hill butt.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
It did. I was just like, oh, that's not cute.
Yes.
But yeah, then that's when she sees him. She's half naked. And I was like, oh, he's just taking a little nappy nap. He was tuckered out.
A little bit. He
killed
a nap.
so many people. He needed to recoup.
He needed a nap.
But this is where I put her boobies look great.
Oh yeah.
But then she hides in like the space costume closet. What are those called? Spacesuits. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But her putting on that space costume is not so quiet. I was like, girl, are we trying to be discreet? Because you're kind of like clumping around.
No, yeah, she wasn't at all. And it's why I'm like, she's drawing attention to herself. And she wasn't trying to. I don't think she was. But like, obviously, she wasn't not trying to. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, she then gets all dressed up. She gets into her little space chair and she
locks herself
trying
in.
to like, she's strapping herself in, obviously. And then she hits little buttons to to wake it up, basically. And it's funny the way it's like,
it's very grumpy.
waking up from its nap. And it's so funny also too, before that,
Sleepy
whenever
baby.
it's there, like the way its fingers like sexually just like, do you notice
the
that?
fingers
Are,
were
like,
creepy, yeah.
Going it's like when you like nudge somebody and they're taking a nap and they kind of move but they don't wake up, so that's what it's doing throughout this whole movement time. And then finally when it does wake up and it just kind of like slumps out.
It literally falls out.
It
looked like it
out.
tripped.
It literally.
It was like, boom, boom,
like
boom.
it was drunk and got woken up and now it's like, oh fuck, I'm so hungover. What's happening?
And I guess that could have been because of the gases.
Yeah, maybe.
In the air.
Maybe, but it's so
Maybe
funny.
It quite literally
it's quite
was drunk.
comedic the way it happens because it's supposed to be this like big bad creature, you know,
And
killer.
then it just like kind of falls on its back.
Yeah.
Like, like when a turtle's upside down
Oh
or
yeah,
something. It's kind of like
it's
that.
so helpless. It's like,
Yeah.
and so then she hits that button and then poof,
Yeah, because she's singing that song, the like "You Are My Little
You Are My
Star"
Star.
or something.
You Are My Sunshine? Is that
no,
it's
like
the little star.
She's saying "You're my star," like "You are my star," and she's trying to basically get it to come over just enough so that way she can press that button and it's right in front of the door to get sucked out.
Yeah.
But then it catches itself. It's like, nope.
Well, because she somehow it's no. What happens is that she shoots it with that then little harpoon looking gun thing to like push it out. But then as the door is closing, the gun gets caught on it. So it's like hanging,
that's why
it's
it got
tethered. Yeah.
I was wondering how
It's
it got
tethered.
stuck in like the blaster thing.
So it's tethered, but then because it's
That
tethered, it
explains its
goes back to the
movements.
ship and then it moves into the little the thruster.
Yeah.
The engine, whatever
I
it
couldn't
is.
remember. I just put blaster. I couldn't remember.
And so then she obviously has a smart idea to like turn that on and yeets it, and then it finally dies, and she blows it off into space, and then it's just,
flow in. Then we start to get some triumphant music here.
Yep.
It was very subtle again.
And then we get her basically kind of like diary, like journal, like video.
Final report. Third
final
officer
report,
reporting.
yes.
She put all her dead, cargo and ship destroyed. Should reach the frontier in 6 weeks.
Going to sleep.
This is Ripley, the last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off. And it ends with a pan of her face while sleeping, and then just goes into the credits.
Yeah.
Do you have any like other fun facts that you didn't put in while
Throughout already? Good one. To be honest, I don't. 1979, $11 million budget. It grossed like $107 billion or something like that, or $1 million.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, super.
I mean, 20th Century Fox didn't want to make it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It went through. It was like
Alien
actually
wasn't the original title.
It was Black Star or something like that. And it went through actually 2 different title changes before it became Alien.
Oh, much of the design work came from a failed adaptation of Dune. Oh, and the practical effects in Alien featured real guts.
Real guts?
Of
I wonder
what?
kind of
I
guts.
hope it-
An animal, I'm sure. After it died. But it was also 79, so you never know.
The innards of the facehugger egg were procured from a nearby slaughterhouse and included cows' hearts and stomachs, while the facehugger's insemination tube is made using sheep intestines.
That's why it looks so real.
Oh, and H.R. Geiger personally airbrushed the space jockey set by hand.
Oh, that's cool. The space jockey is the dude in the big old alien thing. But yeah, no, I think that's pretty much all.
Oh wait, so even the full head version doesn't have eyes?
No, I don't. It doesn't have eyes.
Oh. Man, I didn't realize that. That is.
It's almost like a
The model of the alien's head includes a cast of a human skull. Oh, I guess to define its like little face shapes.
Yeah.
And the model of the alien's head also used hundreds of moving parts. Around 900 moving parts were needed to create the model.
That's crazy. Yeah, and then whenever I do know that like Also fun fact, yeah, there was the main actor who portrayed the xenomorph. They found him randomly. He was let me look at his name. He was 7 foot.
Ridley Scott's sons who were the kids.
Yeah. Who were the little kids in that part?
The actor who played Alien was found in a
Balaji Badego. Yes, Balaji Badejo.
Sitting in a pub.
He was Nigerian, 26-year-old, and he was over 7 foot tall.
7 foot tall graphic artist. Oh.
Yeah. And so they put him inside the costume.
And it was his only film role.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Harrison Ford almost played the role of Dallas.
That's crazy.
None of the characters are gendered in the script.
Yeah.
What a really fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because all of those names are pretty.
Yeah. I don't believe it was Ridley. Sorry, the writer of the actual screenplay, right, by Dan O'Bannon. Yeah, he wrote it because he wanted it to be like anybody could play those characters.
The flexibility to cast men and women in any of the roles,
and the diversity of like what he thought a space crew would be like in space and in the future.
Originally, Ripley wasn't considered a female character, despite a unisex approach to the characters. The writers admit that they had never thought of casting a woman for the role of Ripley. As the lead role in science fiction film, Ripley's competent take-charge attitude was a trope of the genre, but not for female characters, who are typically regulated to the damsel in distress and the heroic lead rescues at the end. So really, that's awesome. I mean, that's way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's the Veronica Cartwright thought she was cast as Ripley. And, yeah, that's cool. The alien's appearance was a closely guarded secret. Yeah, because I felt like
like before the movie even came out, it was like they did not promote it as like this is what the alien looks like, this is an alien movie, like this is just like a horror movie, and it had the tagline of nobody can hear you scream in space.
Oh, that is good. This says the alien's blood is acid for a reason. The highly corrosive acidic blood of the alien, capable of eating through the hull of a ship, is the innovating solution to a simple narrative problem. Like, why couldn't the Nostromo crew just shoot it? So that was why they had to go around that.
Yeah.
But dope. Yeah, that's really cool.
Because it literally makes it almost indestructible.
They used a dog to get Jones the cat to react to the alien.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then there was more than one Jones the cat. 4 different cats played the part of Jones. Huh. They hid a German Shepherd behind a screen and lifted it suddenly to startle Jones. Poor Jones.
Traumatized. Literally. Never trusted a dog ever since then.
The Library of Congress registered Alien for historic preservation.
Yeah.
In 2002, the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress added Alien to its list of films preserved in the historical and cultural value. Oh, Ash's blood included caviar and pasta, too.
That's crazy.
Ew. Anyways.
So how many booze?
You go first.
4.
4?
4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah. Okay.
4.5. I really like it.
Yeah.
I've always really enjoyed it. Saw it a really long time ago when I was younger. Really enjoy the other movies from the saga as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
How much would you give it?
Well, Mike says he gives it a 4. That's what he was signaling out there.
Okay.
Mike gives it a 4.
No, I would give it a 4. I just
Wait,
for the
yours
cultural
is 4.5 or 4?
4.5, sorry.
Okay.
But for the cultural impact for because obviously I saw it way past like the prime of its time when it came out.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just really cool, and I'm also like a really big nerd, and so I like sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. So it's just really cool, and it's basically the same trope of like, you know, like you have like a Friday the 13th, like a Jason and murderer stalking all these kids one by one, but just set in space, and it's an alien.
It's an alien. Yeah. That's true.
So it's just really cool. It's shot beautifully. I like all the like design of the spaceship and how like the big wishbone looking spaceship, like on the inside it looks like it's almost an alive organism as well, and like it looks like bones, and like the design of the alien,
so much work had to have gone, like that's really insane.
And just like the fact also too that like this movie was made in 77 basically, you know
Came
pre-production. Yeah, so it's just like the feats that they had to do to just like make it, like that's pretty cool. Yeah,
it is really impressive.
4.5 for me, but that's just me.
Yeah, fair. I was telling them earlier, I fell asleep while watching it this morning. I do think it's because I was tired and this time change has got me a little fucked up. But, I mean, it is very slow. It is a slow
It's a slow burn.
And it really did have me quite, like, I was all the way through, like, basically once through the, like, chest explosion. I was pretty hooked.
Okay.
And then there's a few parts there.
It kind of dips.
Yeah, it dips a little bit, and that's fine. Like, I have appreciated, I really do like slow burns. I think this morning I was just too tired for it.
Yeah.
But I broke it up into chunks. And there were a few parts where I was like, okay, the scene is maybe taking a little too long, more than I'm like, or I'm just like, why is this relevant to the film?
To the plot.
Almost. Like, especially how much they searched for Jones.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was just like,
I think because it's just the way that Ridley really focused on the movie. There's in a lot of the scene, like, there's so much build up because it's like we're almost 20-ish, 30 minutes until we actually even see, like, the wishbone ship.
Yeah.
And then it's like another probably 15 until we get, like, the actual, like, face hugger. Or 10. And then it's like it just keeps building and building and building.
Yeah.
So I feel like also too a lot of it had to do with, and
I mean,
you don't
really
have to like it, but I think that's the way
plot.
what he was doing.
Yeah.
Is that, like, he was just really building up, like, that whole trying to look for the cat leading up into the actual, like, first, like, death of the movie, basically.
Well,
Ish.
the part was more when Ripley started looking for the cat that I questioned, like, okay, why are we spending so much time?
Yeah. I think at that point, because then it's trying to build the scare of, like, well, alien could be here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I get that.
But I feel like at that point how they had really set it up for, I was like, Lambert and Parker are really going to die here. Like, I could tell that much. But, I mean, overall was very good. I can understand why it's a cult classic. The set design and stuff alone is, I mean, worthy of praise.
Yeah.
And then the score I did really like as well. And it is beautifully shot. First time period and stuff. It is really good. And most of the acting I liked. The only person who really bothered me was Lambert. Other than that, I thought it was good. I'd probably give it, I think I'd give it a 3.
A 3?
For me.
I feel that.
Again, this was my first time watching it. So maybe with more time.
If you ever watch it again, you might catch
and
things.
I do want to go figure out which one it is I have seen, because now I'm, like, very confused. So I need to go. I want to go watch.
I really want you to watch Prometheus and Covenant. I feel like more Prometheus. Covenant, like, but Prometheus definitely.
I didn't know Covenant was. I don't even know that
leads
name.
into the lore of, like, how all this kind of came about.
Yeah,
it's
I would.
Really
I mean, I've heard Prometheus is amazing, so I'm glad I haven't seen it though, because, like, seeing it as a standalone, that would have been. I would have been
without
very
all of
confused.
this information.
Yes, yeah. I would have been like, I don't get it, or, like, I wouldn't have had as much of a pull to the film, because I would have felt like I was missing something. It's like if you go see the new, like, Spider-Man or something without having seen any of the other Marvel films,
ones,
or something, and it's just
I
like,
feel that. Because it's all falls into the same universe,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, why the fuck is Doctor Strange here?
Yeah. Exactly. So I feel like it's kind of similar in that regards.
Yeah, I feel that.
But
well, you heard it here first, you guys.
4.5,
4.5,
a
4, and a
like,
3.
And a 3 from your boobays.
Yeah.
For 1979's Alien.
Please reach out and let us know how you felt about this movie. If you loved it, you hate it, if you're somewhere in the middle.
That's right. If you just want to date it, I don't know why.
Yeah. It's okay. As always, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
That's right. They take good care of us. They changed their whole schedule on.
Just to allow us to record these. Yep. And as always, you can always listen to us on your wherever you find your podcast, or if you want to switch it up, look on a different one. We are on the main ones like Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast. We are on Stitcher and a few other ones.
Yep. You can always find us on RogueMediaNetwork.com as well as all the other podcasts that are there.
Streaming platforms. Yes.
You can also find us on exactly one social media platform, and that is Instagram at
Boobays Podcasts, all one word, and that is BOOBAES, not babes, because we are your boobays, not your boo babes.
That's right.
And
wherever you do listen, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, because that's the only way we can get ahead. So.
And we like hearing from y'all.
That's right. And until next time.
Bye, bays.
Bye, bays.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.